So I'm Kimberly Miner, and I'm really happy to have you all here. We're going to discover a new approach to customer loyalty that moves beyond the inefficiencies of traditional, overly generous, impersonal, and costly loyalty programs. In this session, we will introduce the advantages of payment-based rewards programs, traditionally the realm of large retailers, which effectively segment customers, reduce costs, and unlock unique marketing opportunities to boost customer lifetime value. We know if we're retailers, we're always looking for the LTV. And best of all, these benefits are accessible to brands of all sizes, including D2C brands, democratizing a powerful tool for customer engagement and retention. So I'd like to welcome Jennifer Glaspie-Lundstrom, CEO of Tandem, and Scott Allen, VP of Special Projects, Portland Leather Goods.
I'm really excited to be here with Scott this afternoon. So we thought we'd first start with just some brief introductions, and then we'll get into it. So Scott, I'm happy to go ahead and start off here. So as Kimberly said, my name is Jen Glaspie-Lundstrom. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Tandem. Prior to co-founding Tandem, I worked at Capital One for about 7 years, where I was a general manager leading private label and co-brand credit cards for some of the nation's largest retailers. I left Tandem to I left Capital One to co-found Tandem in 2001 after realizing that these programs that large legacy retailers have enjoyed for decades are incredibly valuable, but have never before been available to sub-billion-dollar brands. And my co-founders and I really just saw an opportunity to bring this great product construct of branded payments to more merchants than the legacy banks can serve. So excited to be here. Scott, can you tell us a little more about your background and about Portland Leather Goods?
Yeah, I'm the VP of Special Projects for Portland Leather Goods. At Portland Leather, we pride ourselves on making handcrafted leather bags at a price that everyone can feel good about. The business is about 8 years old. It was founded in the CEO and founder's garage in Portland. Since then, we've grown a little bit. We're now a 9-figure brand with a $250,000 five-star reviews. We no longer work in the garage, and we are now the largest leather bag manufacturer in North America.
Awesome. Thank you, Scott. So I'm excited for our conversation today, and we love working with Portland Leather Goods. It's such a great example of really just a success story to get to a 9-figure revenue in 8 years. And I don't think you mentioned that you haven't taken any external equity funding. So truly just a great story of a great product, strategy, and incredibly disciplined management execution. So excited to get into it. The topic that we wanted to start with first today is a topic that we talk to a lot of brands about, which is really their either new or renewed focus on contribution margin. So as we've seen the evolution from our perspective over the last few years, we used to hear a lot about top line growth and CAC, and those were like the two metrics that people were so focused on. Over the last year or so, we've just seen a tremendous shift to really honing in on contribution margin. And I know at Portland Leather Goods, that is something that you all have really taken a different look at over the last many months. So I'd love to hear from you more about how your sort of like the strategic management of the business has changed and how you think about contribution margin today versus how you used to think about it.
Yeah, 3 years ago we were hyper-focused on growth, less so on contribution margin. In the last year, with the tightening of capital markets, Meta's performance being less reliable than it has been, and being self-funded, the importance of us making sound inventory decisions, we've kind of refocused there. We think about contribution margin or contribution in two ways. The first, at the product level, backing out those variable costs, and then helping us make decisions on which products to to invest in. And then really on a customer level, we think about it as a contribution profit per customer, kind of tracked over various time periods and then cumulatively as kind of a proxy for LTV. And we like to segment that a couple different ways: by channel, by product category, market, and by customer. So that's the two main ways that we think about contribution margin at PLG.
Okay, all right. That's. Let me sort of recap that or summarize it, make sure I'm understanding. So it sounds like what you've done differently is in your internal analysis, you've applied more costs to the different products, channels, et cetera, to get to a truer view of profit, like a lower level view of profit. And you've sort of segmented the business across all of the different levers. Is that a good summary?
That's a great summary. Yeah, the more variables we put into, the variable cost, the more things that go into it. Your cost of goods, your shipping, your pick pack fees, processing fees, your ad spend, customer service tickets, expected returns, exchanges. Each of those then become a metric within a metric that you can optimize to increase your contribution margin.
Yeah. So I'm curious. All right. So you go through this shift in how you look at and evaluate your business, and after doing that, were there decisions that you made that were different based on having sort of this new view of your business?
We've recently cut some product lines that didn't make sense for us, that were less profitable than others. We recently finished a project looking at contribution margin and conversion rate on our website with different shipping costs or that we charge the customer, and trying to optimize those offerings, segmenting it out by different weights, different price points, new customers versus returning customers, and as a result turned what was a cost into a revenue center recently.
Yeah, can you talk more about turning a cost into a revenue center?
Yeah, with the shipping. Yeah. So we used to lose money on shipping a few dollars every order. Being able to look at what we are charging the customer, how they react to it, its impact not only on contribution margin for different product categories, but the impact on conversion rate, and then selecting the options that make the most sense for us and how our customers react, we're able to generate revenue from those shipping fees that we charge.
Yeah, super interesting. And so you were able to increase revenue from turn your costs into a revenue center. And did you see any impact to conversion, or the net benefit made sense for you? Yeah,
it absolutely did. The big one that we're trying to figure in there now is how loyalty plays into that when people redeem points. So we're very excited to work with you guys and kind of dive into that a little bit more.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm excited to talk about that too. And we are working together to do branded payments, and think that we'll be branding it PLG Pay. Is the plan. Can you talk more about how that decision was made in the context of maximizing contribution margin?
Yeah, one of those variables, credit card processing fees. So we set out to find a way to lower our credit card processing fees. That is one of the benefits of Tandem. And then as we learned more, we learned a little bit about the ways in which it can also increase LTV or average order value, which maybe you can explain to the crowd a little bit better than I can.
I'm happy to. And it's so interesting because this is often the sort of way a conversation unfolds that we have with brands. And what we see is that the brands that we work with, it's very similar dynamics to what we see, again, with some of the large legacy retailers. So if you think about some of the retailers that have their own branded cards, right? The Target Red Card, Nordstrom, Neiman Marcus, Best Buy, Crate & Barrel, the list goes on and on. And often when we talk to brands, the reason they come to us is they say, okay, processing payments is so expensive, it's really painful, we want to figure out a way to reduce expenses. And that is true, right? Doing closed loop branded payments you're going to reduce your payment processing on those payments by 70 to 80%, sometimes even more. So that happens. The other thing, though, that we see, both with the brands that we work with and with the legacy retailers, is that once you get into it, a significant amount of the value actually comes from the revenue upside through increased loyalty. This part can feel a little counterintuitive, or it's not quite as obvious, but there are really three things that drive increased value when a customer starts using your branded payment option. And those three things are, one, we see just a real engagement with payment earned rewards. So when a customer feels like they've done something to earn a reward, they're more likely to come back and use it and engage with it. So for folks in the audience that have credit card rewards, I'm a credit card reward junkie. I use them all. I never have breakage. And I know I'm not the only one, right? So people are like really motivated when they've done something to earn it. So that's one thing that we see drives increased revenue and loyalty. The second thing is you're more top of mind for a customer. So say you're a Target shopper and you get a Target Red card. You're going to get a statement every month, right? Your PLG Pay customers, they're going to get a statement every month. This is the point at which like the CMO's like eyes sort of start to twinkle. So we send statements through multiple channels. Just the email channel, we have an 85% open rate on a monthly basis. And then you remind people, look, these are the rewards you have. Don't forget, right? Come back and use this value. So you're just significantly more top of mind with customers. And then the third thing is for customers that choose a credit product, they have expanded purchasing power and extended credit line that they can use at your location. So again, a lot of people this is gonna be super cheesy. I don't think I've ever said this before. You guys can let me know how it works. All right, they come for the payment processing savings and they stay for the increase in LTV. What did you think?
It works.
Should I do that again?
Yeah.
Okay.
One of the things that we struggled with our loyalty program was we could see an increase when we launched it, but within the program, within the levels that we had set up, measuring the incrementality through levels. With your experience with Capital One, how do big brands optimize their plans, their cards on top of existing plans in a way that is maybe different than what you see in the DC landscape?
Yeah. Okay. So are you talking about, because you have an existing, what us payment nerds call tender neutral program. So you're talking about your existing program and how what we see in the D2C compares to what we see in like more legacy retail. Yeah, so, and I know you've worked some with our team and like, we just get so passionate about this. So we see a couple things. So one, we see so many D2C brands that have just overly complicated loyalty programs, and two, give too much away. Oh, actually I have a third. And three, don't really know how much incrementality they're driving. So I'm going to put you on the spot here. With your existing loyalty program, how much value is it driving for you?
We don't know. That's where we struggle. We know that is, pre-loyalty and then post-loyalty that there is a lift. We know what that lift is. Within the program, we're not sure whether the actions across the different tiers are driving the actions we want to see, or if along the way to our top tier, we're just bleeding margin on purchases that would have been made otherwise.
Yeah. So that is really, really common what we see. One is it's the way a lot of the systems are set up, it can be very, very challenging to measure incrementality. That's something we're very passionate about, and we can come back and talk more about some of the analysis we're doing for you. But so we're really passionate about measuring incrementality, but the compare and contrast with, again, what we see in D2C versus what we saw in our old lives, that so two things. One, the more legacy retailers, they tend to have significantly more simplified program structures. with the complexity that we see with many brands that we work with, a sort of fundamental rule of thumb is that if the complexity is not changing customer behavior, it is not driving any value. So I think you guys have like 7 tiers, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
That's what was recommended to us. And so
Right.
we're excited to work with, I mean, we've
Yeah.
already started working with the team. I'm very excited to get the report back.
Yes.
Yeah.
So here's just a thought exercise, and
Okay.
we'll do the math, but here's the thought exercise. Say you have a customer of Portland Leather Goods that's in tier 5. What do you think the likelihood is that your tier 5 customers are actively doing anything differently because they want to get to tier 6?
I don't know that question. My CMO is
Yes.
going to kill me for saying that up
Well,
here.
but that's what we see all the time. And when you have 7 tiers, like we live our businesses every day, our customers don't. And so my very strong hypothesis is that your customers don't even know there are 7 tiers, let alone are they doing something proactively to try to consolidate their spend to get to that next, to 7. So again, like in the legacy programs, you typically see it's much more simplified. The other thing we see is that in the D2C world, or I'll say e-commerce world more broadly, a lot of the programs give so much value back. And when we experiment with that and we pull back some of the value, you can find that you can drive just as much upside without giving nearly as much away. So yeah, I mean, those are the 2 things, like simplifying and making sure that what you're investing in the program is an investment and you're measuring your ROI in the same way you would with anything else.
Awesome. Yeah. We could re-joke internally that there's, with all the different tech stacks we have in the SaaS world, that everybody likes to attribute a lot of revenue, maybe generous to themselves, and that maybe even sometimes exceeds our revenue. So how, when you guys get into that data, how do you break that apart and really dive into what you're driving?
Yes, yeah, great question. So like I said, we're very much data nerds in our business, and we are quite truist about measuring incrementality. And so when we work with brands, we will do what we call a loyalty audit, and we ingest their data to get a baseline, and we do a couple things. So one, we look at the efficacy of an existing loyalty program, and we do that by segmenting your customers, looking at sort of behavior change pre and post loyalty program, and then coming up with, and then we have like a set of tools or suggestions on a per segment basis on things you can do differently. And then if we do work together and provide branded payments for you, it's part of our ongoing solution is that we track the data to look at incrementality and how a customer behavior changes pre, in your case, PLG pay, and post PLG pay. So we can see their history before, we look at their history after, and we measure things like time to next purchase, AOV of purchases pre versus post, frequency over different periods of time, and you can truly do the how much are we, how much is our investment paying off?
Awesome. Very good.
Yeah. So I know that our teams have spent some good time together, and you are a great host out in Portland, and folks are really looking forward to working together. But can you talk a little bit more about like some of the things that led to your decision to offer branded payments into your stack?
Yeah, I mean, stacking it on top of loyalty and how, I mean, I don't want to say easy, but it's flexible with how it works with our tender neutral program, but really finding a partnership in tandem with the experience that you guys bring to help us parse through some of these details and really like measure that incrementality is what helped us make the decision.
Yeah. Awesome. Is that we're already
Yeah,
over
we're over.
time, aren't
Yeah.
we? That went by so fast.
Yeah.
I could sit here and talk about this all day with you, Scott. It's so much fun working with your team, and we're grateful to have such awesome partners. So
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.